Well, I should get to work on some YouTube content and write some scripts for my next video because I have not been here for a long time. Well, why don't you just stop right now? This is useless anyway, so go and do something else. Haven't you found yourself in a situation quite like this one once before in your life? It's one of the problems that people encounter most in their life, and even after having made this video, I still struggle with this problem myself. Through making this video, however, while I do still struggle with the problem, I have found ways with which you can combat this problem, and those are the things that I'm going to be showing to you today. What exactly are we talking about? I've coined it the whatever mentality. The whatever mentality is that state of knowing what you should be doing right now, but simply not doing it because something else is more important or it's not relevant enough. Effectively, making that activity whatever. You usually come up with a different excuse, something along the lines of, oh, but I'll do this later, or oh, but I've got more important things to do right now. And then you end up not doing the task that you were originally going to do. These are the excuses that your indulgent part of the brain throws up for you, and it's like, oh, but it's okay and you have time later. There's already 6 more hours that you wasted your time, but you know, there's other 6 more hours with which you can probably do your task, you know, so it's not all that bad. What I want you to notice is that this is not you talking. This is the whatever mentality talking to you. And this is exactly what you need to break out of, because the longer you let this go on, the harder it will become to escape, the longer you set that off. Effectively, the thing that should be the most important part of your whole day is sabotaged by the whatever mentality, and you're just thinking like, oh, but I'll do this later, or something along those lines. And those are the excuses that are the things that will hold you back. As an example, if a fellow YouTuber is completely obsessed with making videos, but one day he is not having the best day, he is on YouTube scrolling down and wastes 3 hours of time. And after he realizes he wasted 3 hours of time, he probably will not be in the mood to record those videos that he actually wanted to make all day, because the motivation just simply will not be there, and he might be thinking, yeah, you know what, let's make this a cheat day because, you know, I've already wasted so much time that it's not really worth it trying to get anything out of this day. And with all of that said, you might be asking, I understand what the whatever mentality is about, but how do I go about solving this problem? There are several solutions to this problem, so let's cover them one by one. The first solution that you have is discipline, and discipline is a very reliable way of going about this. But one thing that you must keep in mind is that discipline needs to be built in many people. There are people that have it like right off the bat, but most people need to practice discipline. And this is a very difficult thing to do, because discipline, I'm giving you the definition. Doing hard things, even when you don't feel like it. Yeah, I did kind of steal that from Hamza, but it is honestly the best definition that you could give it. When I'm sitting in my room, for example, I really need some discipline, because I sometimes really don't want to go about doing the work. I go onto YouTube, open up a new tab, and go on some random video. Even though I don't have thumbnails enabled, I can still see the channels on the left side. And when the channel has uploaded something new, I'm like, let's check it out, let's see what that's about. And then I waste another half an hour of time. So discipline is very vital, even if you're doing everything you can. Discipline, in fact, is so important that without it, you will pretty much be bullied by your brain into your whims and desires all of the time. And if you cannot exercise discipline and sometimes work even if it's hard, then I do not think that you will get very far. With that said, if you've built up discipline as a skill, man, I cannot tell you in words how much it will help you. because it will act as a protective barrier around all of the different acts that you perform throughout the day, and it will shield you from all of the desires and all of the everything that you might encounter. The skill of building discipline is something that I'll talk about at another time. But a very actionable step that you can take is simply to do difficult things. But not difficult things just by themselves, but difficult things that you are not in the mood to do. For me, it's something like taking out clean dishes from the dishwasher. It's a very simple task, like it's not difficult, it takes you like at most 10 minutes. But it's something that is really mandatory, and that's a very good way to build discipline. If there is something small that's very like annoying to do, that is your go-to if you want to build your discipline up. For solution number 2, we've got a short-term and long-term solution in one, which is visualization, and it is a very powerful solution at that. With this one, I want you to visualize the following right now. You are imagining your future self, like when you're over 60, 70 years old. That future self is looking back at you and the decisions that you're making in this moment. That is the perfect filter for what you can do right now. If you are working away on your purpose, if you're working away on something that's important to you, he will look at you with really grateful eyes, and he will see the work that you're putting in right now for him, and he will be very, very grateful that you're doing so. But imagine that you're wasting your time. Imagine that you're playing those video games 3 hours a day. Imagine that you are not fulfilling your purpose, not going after the thing that actually makes you want to get out of bed every day. He will look at you and think, why is he wasting his potential? Because he could be doing so much more. This was just a one-time visualization. It lasted like, a minute or something? And this 1 minute helped me, at least, just look at what activities that I'm doing and what my future self is going to just think about me in the future. Because this is a very good filter that you can use every day. And I want you to get very deep into detail. I want you to imagine the details of what you are doing right now. Because this might look good, and you might be like, yeah, this is some really good stuff. But the thing is, if you don't go into detail, it will remain on a shallow level. I want you to imagine the details of what you're doing. If you're putting in the work on the thing that's important to you, let's say it's martial arts, imagine how many details your jab has or your cross has, and how much power is in those punches when you're punching against a boxing bag. I want you to imagine it really heavily in detail, because that is going to make the big differences. And not just the shallow stuff, like, yeah, I'm going to the boxing gym and I'm hitting the boxing thingy. And while that is important, it is also important to go into detail, because I've noticed that makes the big differences. With these two solutions out of the way, which are both meant to be used as a permanent solution, I offer you one band-aid solution, which is a little bit more temporary, and even though you can use this permanently, it is not really worth the ROI, at least in my perspective. For you it might differ, and this is affirmations. Affirmations in this sense is like pumping yourself up and really motivating yourself to get that work done. Like, yeah, I'm so strong and I'm going to smash this workout, or I'm so strong I'm going to destroy this boxing bag. And while this is good, this is probably not going to be able to sustain you in the long term, because I've noticed this myself. At the beginning, this seemed like a really great solution and something that I should really go into more. But later on, I realized that this is not very good, because I can tell myself I'm so great, I'm so strong, but at the end of the day, I'm just sitting there and telling myself that I'm so strong and not doing that much. And while these positive affirmations have an effect, a positive one at that, it's simply not that much. It's like the cherry on top, but you do not really have a foundation. If you have a foundation, these might help a little bit. But other than that, this is not going to be a big game changer, unlike the other two. Now, I would not have listed this method if it wasn't at least somewhat useful, so I want you to try this out the next time that you can really apply this in your real life. But for me, it did not have big changes that I really noticed. So with that, I've got the solution to the problem, right? I'm going to use this now and crush this activity. 2 hours later. Well, I'm back at square one now. Maybe that video was lying. Oh, there was over 3 minutes left. And that is because I have not mentioned to you solving the root cause. I've saved the most important thing for last. I've told you how to combat the whatever mentality, what it is, what the problems are with it. But I have not told you where this comes from. So in the second part of this video, I talked about how to solve the symptoms of this. But how about solving the root cause? And I've come to the conclusion that the root cause is that I want you to figure it out by yourself. No, just kidding. I'll help you through this. But I want you to do this with me together. I'll not tell you the solution straight up. What I want you to do now is to remember at what time you were experiencing the whatever mentality the last time that you had it. It was probably not during the phase where you were like really productive, where you were like getting those last few push-ups in, or something along those lines. No, it was something more along the lines of, hey, I'm pretty bored right now, and hey, I'm sitting at home and I don't really have much motivation to get to work, and I don't really want to do much. And that is probably the thing that really motivated you, or better to say, demotivated you from doing the work and motivated you into the whatever mentality. Now for real this time, to unveil the truth about the whatever mentality and what causes it. It's caused by distraction and the lack of self-control. Think about it. Each time you were struck by the whatever mentality, you were distracted or you had a lack of self-control. You were either sitting on your desk and thinking like, oh, but what am I going to do next? Or something along those lines, something that's not conducive to what you want to be actually doing. And that is when the whatever mentality appeared, not when you were in your peak concentration hours. So in part 2, I showed you how to combat the whatever mentality directly, with discipline, with visualization, and with affirmations. But the best way you can get rid of the whatever mentality itself is simply by exercising self-control and getting into a flow state. Let me tell you about the flow state. If you're in a flow state, you basically have zero thoughts in your mind. That is the level of control and focus that you have on the task at hand. And if you have that, you will not be able to manifest that whatever mentality into you. So getting into this flow state is the best thing that you can do. There are some very good videos out there on flow state already by Rian Doris and Hamza. I think both of those videos are very, very good. And before you click off the video, because we're almost at the end, I want to give you one more thing. And this is more like a warning than everything. If you are experiencing the whatever mentality a lot during your activities, then there might be something that's seriously wrong down behind the curtains. While certainly you will have times when you're not in the mood to do the thing that you're actually really passionate about, what if you're like that all the time? The deep problem behind that is that you might actually not be pursuing the things that you're really passionate about, but it's probably some belief that has been implanted into you, and you're just going after it, even though it is not the thing that you want to be pursuing. These beliefs may have been implanted to you somewhere early in life. Maybe it was on the internet, maybe it was in the household, maybe it was at school. I don't really know where it came from. But we all have these beliefs that we have inside of us, but we really know deep down that they're not true. If you're telling yourself, but hey, I want that Bugatti, you probably got that belief from Andrew Tate when you were in your red pill phase. Who knows? That's probably the truth. I'll make a more detailed video about this as well. But I want you to analyze yourself and see if you have these beliefs inside of you right now. Because let me be real here for a moment. This might plague you for a long time if you do not eliminate it right now. And with that, I have successfully armed you with the knowledge that I've accumulated over the last few weeks or so. And I really, really hope that this provided some value to you, because this This might help you quite a lot if you're struggling with this problem yourself. And now, it's your turn. Make this a reality. Get the whatever mentality out of your life. Because if it's gone, and when it's gone, better to speak, you will be able to get much more things done that you want to get done, trust me. And with that said, again, thank you very much for watching. I hope I could provide some value. And God bless you and your family.